This is Markin Out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Follow on Twitter. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Marking Out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Brennan likes fisting. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. We're marking out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans.
Welcome to Markin Out, Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. This is episode 721. Hey, buy a t-shirt, ProWrestlingTees.com/markinout. Why? Because it is awesome. Also, make sure that you're following us on Twitter at Markin Out, on Instagram at MarkinOut11, on TikTok at Markin Out, and also you should definitely give us a like on Facebook. You could check us out, markinout.com, on Amazon Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Make sure that you're checking us out at MarkinOut11 on Instagram, but follow us individually. That's right, your hosts. You can follow me, Dave the Rave, on all social media platforms at DavidPTDPT. Follow Chris at Chris Sweendog and CM Sweeney85 on social media platforms, and Brandon at BTTG161. Hey Brandon, gobble gobble, how are ya?
I am doing awesome as always. How about yourself?
Doing fantastic. How was your week?
It was fine. Didn't really do much. I made meatballs, but I don't know how to exactly refer to them. They're boiled in broth with onions, and my mom used to make them when I was a kid. I'm almost certain they're something my great-grandpa used to make, but probably not the same way. And I feel like I could have tweaked it a few ways, but for the most part, they tasted pretty much how I remembered they would.
All right, that sounds pretty good. I haven't cooked meatballs in a long time. Last time I made them, I made them with mozzarella cheese in the middle. It actually came out really good.
Did you pan fry them, or what'd you do?
No, we had a crock pot?
Oh, yeah.
I think it was in a crock pot that we cooked it in. I don't remember. I think it was crock pot, but I made it at my friend's house. That was really good.
And then I also made a steak sandwich with frozen steak that I trimmed with a knife while it was frozen. It wasn't. I was hoping for Philly cheesesteak. It was not a Philly cheesesteak though.
That's disappointing.
Very much so. But how was your week?
My week was good. It was a good week. It was a fast week. Everything's all good.
Yeah, hopefully everybody enjoyed their Thanksgiving.
Yes. I hope everybody did not get stuck in traffic. And everybody ate a ton of food. Do you have a favorite, Thanksgiving food?
Yeah, it's only ever stuffing. That's the only thing I care about for Thanksgiving is stuffing. Ever. So much so that I'm going to be making my own stuffing just to eat by myself.
Stuffing is good.
Yeah.
Do you prefer your stuffing fully all soft or with some solid pieces in there?
What does that mean?
I feel like sometimes I've had stuffing where it's either really, really soft throughout, or sometimes there's a few little more firm pieces to it.
Are there still chunks of bread, are you asking?
Yeah.
Yeah, I leave chunks of bread.
I think I like it more.
I do chunks of bread. I do mushrooms, carrots, celery, rosemary. I think. Oh, and onions. And then obviously chicken broth or whatever, eggs.
I think I like the style a little bit better when it is soft throughout.
I like. There's a crust sometimes on the top.
I
like that.
I don't know. I don't think crust on the top for sure. Something like a cornbread pudding.
Yeah, I don't like
Or-
cornbread, and I don't
Yeah,
like cornbread
or-
stuffing. I'll eat
Or like
it,
mac
but I
and
don't
cheese,
like it.
but not too much stuffing. I don't really need a hard top for the stuffing.
I'm not saying like a super hard top. I just mean like a little crisp.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't need that little crisp. I'm okay with the crisp. I think my favorite food that I definitely need is cornbread, the cornbread pudding. I think that's probably my favorite food. After that, probably the candied yams.
That's not even remotely a thing on my plate.
Yeah, you've never been a fan of that, right?
I mean, there's the sweet potato gimmick, but it's not something I'd purposely want. It's more so for the marshmallow topping. And I don't even like marshmallows. It's just good though. Caramelized sugar, burnt sugar like that, it's good. But yeah, I've never had
I'm definitely
yams.
not definitely far from a turkey fan.
I mean, it's fine. I grew up eating turkey every day, basically.
I don't know.
Obviously not the same kind of turkey, but
Yeah.
I would
turkey-
much rather prefer, like, if I'm looking forward to Thanksgiving, if I'm excited for Thanksgiving, it's stuffing. It's not turkey. Oh, and cranberry sauce. Stuffing, cranberry sauce. Boom.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all I want. That's all I need. I mean, protein would be nice, but that's all I really need.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. What's your favorite pie?
Apple. Should I have given a Chili's answer?
I was thinking about it, but we probably shouldn't. Probably should not go the chili answer. Definitely thought about it, though. So funny that you brought that up.
Yeah.
I think that for me, I may go with yam or pumpkin.
Yam?
Well, I
pie?
mean,
What does
not
that
yam,
mean?
sweet
You
potato,
mean
sweet potato. Yeah, sweet potato or pumpkin, I think.
pick yam pie.
Yam pie, please.
Wait, pumpkin pie or sweet potato pie?
Yeah. I'm kind of
well.
leaning more so towards the sweet potato pie, though.
Mm.
I found that the consistency of a pie like a sweet potato and pumpkin, I've become a big fan of versus the traditional crust apple pie and stuff like that.
If I'm not mistaken, I think you would like shoe fly pie then?
What's that?
It is a molasses and brown sugar inside gimmick.
Huh.
Got the crust.
It sounds interesting.
The Amish traditionally make it.
Uh-huh.
So I think you would enjoy that.
Interesting. I'll have to look into it.
But other than that, your week was fine.
Yeah, everything is all good.
Well, before Monday Night Raw kicked off, they announced, in the middle of the ring, Adam Pearce announced a Women's Intercontinental Championship and another tournament for said championship. I'm not going to complain, but I don't know if... I mean, Raw has a lot more women than SmackDown.
Uh-huh.
So it makes more sense, perhaps, to have it on Monday Night Raw. But they're two separate brands, so I understand them adding both.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll look forward to whoever... I mean, right now we don't really know who's in that tournament, but off the top of my head, two people that I wouldn't mind seeing be the first Intercontinental Champion would be either Bayley or Natalya.
How dare you?
Although, I guess Bayley can't. She's on SmackDown.
I want it to be a little bit of mix.
What do you mean?
I want it to be like Raw and SmackDown.
Well, I don't think that makes sense now that there's both. But I think Natty, just because of her history, like her family's history with that championship, I think would be cool.
But it would be too random for me. Way
I mean,
too random.
I mean, if you don't give it to Natalya, somebody else I would like to see champion would be Dakota Kai.
Let's see.
So,
Dakota Kai would be a cool answer. For Intercontinental, I don't know. Natalya seems pretty good. I'm going through right now. What about somebody like Shayna Baszler?
yeah, I mean, I'd be down for a Shayna Baszler title run also.
Or is Zelina Vega?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much anybody.
I would
Really,
I would probably,
I don't think I would complain if anybody won that.
I would probably maybe go with one of them. Yeah, I think I would go with one of them.
Well, Monday Night Raw kicked off with Gunther, and Jackie Redmond brought up what Gunther did last week with Damian Priest and how Priest got the better of him. And before Gunther could say anything, Damian Priest came out. And he said he wanted to see if the old Gunther is back, but he knows the old Gunther's not. And Priest kept talking, and when Gunther went to leave the ring, he turned around, kind of cartoony, clocked Damian Priest in the head with the microphone. It seemed like there was enough time where Damian Priest should have seen that happening. But Damian Priest came back. He hit a razor's edge through the commentary table to Gunther.
What? Isn't that name something else?
I don't think so.
I thought that he had his own name for the Razor's Edge.
No, Razor's Edge is Razor's Edge because he's a Razor Ramon guy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that further sets up Survivor Series. A lot of people hated this segment because of how weak it made Gunther look. But I think it just fits in the storyline of whether or not he's the old Gunther. A lot of people are like, oh, well, his aura was so much better as Intercontinental Champion. Once he won the World Heavyweight Championship, he lost everything. And it's like, yeah, that might be true, but he also, there's storyline where he's maybe doubting himself. It's been planted in his head. So I'm sure we're still going to see Gunther retain the championship there.
Yeah, I think that there's no way that Gunther is ready to lose. Do you think that he's going to carry it through to WrestleMania?
I couldn't even fathom a guess with that.
I kind of feel like I could see him going into WrestleMania, but I feel like whoever he faces at WrestleMania, I could see him losing at WrestleMania, Gunther.
David Arquette?
I was thinking more so...
Vince Russo?
Yeah, maybe Goldberg.
Yeah. I mean, I don't.
Next up, you had American Made
Goldberg, but the title has to come off of Gunther, maybe in order for. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't have to come off of Gunther in order for Gunther to beat Goldberg.
I mean, could it be Lesnar?
No, I don't even want to bring that name up.
I mean, I feel like only a matter of time.
And they did on Monday Night Raw. I feel like it's weird to bring somebody up that's like still in the middle of a huge lawsuit.
Yeah, true. But next up, you had American Made pick up the victory over the LWO in a tornado tag match. I like this. I like that it was a tornado tag match too. I feel like we don't get enough of them.
Yeah, and it was fun. There were some fun spots. I liked when the Creeds went to superplex Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio hit them like around the turnbuckle, knocked them off with the 619.
Mm-hmm.
And Dragon Lee was able to double stomp both of them. I thought that was pretty cool. But Chad Gable got involved, turned Rey Mysterio's mask all the way around, and Julius Creed used that to pick up the victory. That 450 splash, by the way, in the match that Creed did was great as well.
I agree. I was really impressed with with the Creed brothers.
Well.
Yeah. I mean, but that's nothing new for me.
What,
Especially
you
when it comes to
hating
wrestlers
somebody
that
and me saying no, they're great, and you're like,
yeah, I could give you a
flashback to 2012 where I'm like, hey, no, I think you're wrong. Naomi's great.
that's exactly who I was thinking.
Yeah.
Who else did that happen with? Definitely Naomi.
I don't remember who else. I think
Yeah.
when John Cena first debuted, you were like, oh, he'll never make it. I was like, you're wrong. He's got ruthless aggression. And now look where he is. He's about to retire.
There's a lot of people that's happened with, but Naomi's the only one that comes to mind besides the Creed brothers.
Yeah, well. After that, we saw Ludwig Kaiser pick up the victory over Braun Breaker via disqualification in another hard-hitting match between Braun Breaker and an opponent. That spot where Braun Breaker... it'd be something else if they put like a speed check for him to see how fast he's actually running out there. Ran full speed into the commentary table.
Dude.
After Ludwig Kaiser got out of the way of that. That was insane.
Yo, that hit that he like right into the commentator's table. That
I don't know how that happens. Like he's obviously running so fast, but I don't understand. Like, how do you not take? I mean, you take damage from that, but how do you not take physical damage from that?
I know. He had to have. He has to have.
I was expecting like blood or something when he ran right in like that.
I wouldn't. I mean, unless it's unintentional blood, I wouldn't have added any blood.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying he's gonna cut his chest with a razor blade. I thought because of how fast he ran into that table, I thought he was gonna cut himself on that.
Yeah. I definitely thought that he was gonna have bruised ribs from that because that was just nasty.
But you had to know, based off of everything that's been going on with Braun Breaker and Ludwig Kaiser, that Sheamus was going to get involved. And that's what led to the disqualification. And then the three of them brawled afterwards. I think it even cut to commercial and came back and they were still brawling, unless I'm thinking of NXT. But Adam Pearce was absolutely furious and set up a triple threat match for Survivor Series. And then they just, all three of them kept brawling again.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that I
like
expect
that part.
to be a super hard-hitting match.
Oh, 100%. It's going to get really hard-hitting. It's going to be a really good match, too, I believe.
It's going to be, quote-unquote, a banger.
That is what I would expect. Next up, you had Judgment Day pick up the victory over War Raiders to retain their championships. I am disappointed. I am disappointed.
But I also, at the same time, feel like I don't know if I believed 100% that the War Raiders would walk out as champions in this match.
I mean, I didn't think that they were going to walk out.
It was the
as
only
champion.
the televised second defense from the Judgment Day.
True.
The match I thought was fine, but the real catalyst was Dominic and Carlito showing up. They got taken out. Dominic eventually comes to and puts JD McDonough's foot on the rope to break a pin. Mm-hmm. And then the referee kicked them from ringside, but Eric took them out regardless. And then Finn Balor knocked Ivar from the top rope, which JD McDonough was able to take advantage of. So it's not like they lost. Yes, they lost their number one contender title shot, but they didn't lose cleanly. So there's still room for Adam Pearce or someone to be like, well, I understand that this took place, but you didn't actually win clean.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another title shot. Boom.
True. Very true. I feel like I just need War Raiders to actually have a championship where they are just a dominant tag team. I feel like that's something that I really would have enjoyed if, like, as a child, if like the Natural Disasters had a monstrous tag team run.
Once a quarter, you bring up
I really
disasters.
I really do. Like, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I'm just such a big fan of tag teams like that are just two mountains that cannot be defeated. And it would be cool to have War Raiders as those champions.
It would also be cool if WWE put the Natural Disasters into WWE 2K25. That'd be great.
Induct them into the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
But after that, we saw Alpha Academy pick up the victory. Some would say in a surprising victory against New Day. We found out that next week is going to be the 10-year celebration episode for New Day. And when this match was announced last week, I saw that Alpha Academy just got new merch. You're not going to make somebody lose that just got new merch. And obviously it fits into the storyline where New Day is falling apart to the point where they discussed who's going to be starting the match. And they agree on Kofi Kingston, or at least Kofi agrees on Kofi. Xavier Woods tags himself in. Mm-hmm. Otis pretty much very quickly drops him, hits the Caterpillar. Tozawa hits the Senton. Very, very quick, unexpected, perhaps, loss for the New Day there.
Yeah, I thought that Alpha Academy was phenomenal.
Dominant.
I don't know.
And then New Day argued afterwards, and they continued to do so. It was like that one-shot walking motion.
Ugh, I know. And then once they got backstage, it just got awkwardly bad because you just didn't want to see it.
It was heavy. Kofi Kingston said that Xavier Woods fumbled being the King of the Ring. He fumbled his shot at the Intercontinental Championship. And that's why he and Big E never let Xavier Woods lead. Which, Xavier Woods, I would say, if you were to ask me back when they first formed, who was the leader, kind of seemed like Xavier Woods was the leader.
True.
But Xavier Woods shot back at him and said that Kofi couldn't get the WWE Championship until he came along. And Kofi was like obviously annoyed at that and said that he was a Hall of Famer before he even met Xavier Woods. And it wasn't the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
It was Xavier Woods to come to Kofi versus Kofi coming to Xavier Woods to start New Day. And he said that the reason why Xavier Woods hasn't been champion like Big E, like Kofi Kingston, he's not good enough.
Yeah. And
then Xavier Woods said that they handed him that WWE Championship and Kofi blew it in 6 seconds.
Yeah, they just were going back and forth with each other, taking digs that were like, damn, I can't believe that they just said that.
So now we speculate Big E for next week on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
Maybe we see the heel turn. I don't think we're going to see the end of New Day.
Yeah.
Maybe they both jump Big E.
So it's funny you say that because I was thinking opposite. I was thinking that what if Big E, and I think I said this previously, what if Big E and Woods jump Kofi?
I don't know. I don't see that.
Like, I feel like it would be interesting to see Big E and one of them become heels and the other person become just total babyface.
And what sucks about thinking about New Day being on the same page is you kind of feel like if New Day does get on that same page, should they be champions over War Raiders?
I feel like, so I would say not yet, because obviously they're going to have their internal matches first.
But maybe not. Maybe we're not going to see a feud between New Day. Next week could be like, oh, we're all on the same page now.
I can't see them as
I've
faces.
seen the light.
I just cannot see them as being faces.
I literally said a heel turn.
But for all three?
Or whoever.
So
if they
but that's what I'm
attack
saying.
Big
Even
E,
if
they're heels, if Big E gives them a pep talk and says screw everybody else or whatever, maybe they're also still heels.
I can't. So that's where you lose me. So I feel like at this rate, there has to be some sort of a heel aspect to this.
Maybe somebody from their past comes out to celebrate. Tyler Breeze shows up. Oh, congrats! I love New Day. Boom! All three of them take him out or something.
I feel like
I don't. Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston do it, and Big E's like, "Whoa, bro, what are you doing?"
I don't see that we're having all three of them on the same page. And I think that once that happens, we're going to have all three of them in a feud with each other before they even splinter out to face the War Raiders. But after they handle everything internally, then they branch out to the War Raiders.
But I was saying versus War Raiders winning the championships. Who should win the championships, War Raiders or New Day? If New Day's getting into this big storyline,
it depends on the time frame. If we're talking a few months down the line, New Day could potentially, or whoever gets turned on makes a return at that moment and costs them the heel New Day the matchup against the War Raiders.
Well, I don't want to see two matches of War Raiders squandered.
True. Very true. I don't know.
Backstage, we saw the Final Testament and The Miz. And Miz told them that he saw the Wyatts. And Karrion Kross said, but did they see you? And he said no, so the four of them went out looking. And when they leave, Scarlett is there looking in the mirror, and she looks up, and Nikki Cross is there, attacks Scarlett. You see the Final Testament and the Miz walk back in after that, and they see that she was attacked. I thought that was a well-done segment.
I agree. Every time that I see the mirror get turned into play, I always think of that NWO
Warrior.
with Vince McMahon.
Oh.
I also think of the Hulk Hogan
I
one.
thought you were going to say it all.
Did you think about the Hogan?
With Warrior? Wasn't Warrior in the segment?
Yeah. Was that what you're thinking?
With Warrior? I don't
Yeah,
know
with Hulk Hogan.
I don't fully remember. I don't know.
Yeah, that was the moment where Hulk Hogan looked in the mirror and he saw Ultimate Warrior staring back at him in WCW.
So then maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah. You can definitely view one of the two of those.
Main event saw Bianca Belair pick up the victory over Nia Jax to get the advantage in War Games. Bianca Belair controlled the beginning of this, but Nia Jax took over when Bianca Belair missed a move off the apron. After that, it was pretty even. I like the amount of times that we saw the strength of Bianca Belair in this match. At one point, she pressed Nia Jax off the middle rope. I thought that was cool. She also hit like a side suplex off the middle rope to Nia Jax. But the turnbuckle pad came off, perhaps on purpose, where Bianca Belair, she went into it and commentary pointed it out that she went neck first or whatever. But I don't feel like that had any effect on her.
Mm-hmm.
But behind the referee's back, we saw Bayley show up and rip Nia Jax off the rope, so she went face first into that exposed turnbuckle.
Yeah.
And Bayley signals like, come on. And Bianca Belair goes and hits a 450 to pick up that victory.
She gives like the "I got you."
Yeah. So, have to put a pin in that.
Yeah, there's a lot to be proven with all of them. There's a lot of tension with everything taking place with Jade. A lot of tension.
Yeah.
How long? She's out for months now.
I don't know what the actual diagnosis was. I don't think that was out there. I know they said something maybe with the neck. I don't know.
Yeah, I saw like multiple injuries, not just the neck. I think I saw like the rib and a few other.
Until WWE like actually puts out a real report, I'm not gonna.
I thought they did.
There is to believe. I don't think so.
I thought that's what I saw.
I'm not sure, but that is Monday Night Raw. Moving over to NXT, which kicked off with Ridge Holland. You had Chase U's music play. Fans are going nuts, maybe. And Ridge broke through a Chase U banner. Fans immediately start booing. And he said he'll be seeing Trick Williams at Deadline. Later on, a video of Andre Chase clearing out Chase U aired. And just as he's off the camera or whatever, just as he's about to leave, someone yells out, "Oh, Mr. Chase." And that's all we know. And some people think that it might be Bodie Hayward, who was released back in November 2022.
Huh.
I don't know. And then there's other people who say it was Duke, but I don't think that sounded like Duke.
Yeah.
It like if you're gonna have somebody in that manner, I don't think it can be anybody that's been on TV recently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it has to be somebody that's been off for a very long time.
And we never found out why he was released in the first place.
Very true. I
So,
can buy it.
And then later on, Trick Williams came out. He addressed what happened last week with Chase U and how happy Ridge Holland was for ending it. And he's like, that's how I know that we're different. And he said that he and Chase U are very much so like others who laid the groundwork for NXT for what it's become. People like DIY, people like Tiffany Stratton, even Carmelo Hayes. And it's why he can't let Ridge Holland become champion. And then Ridge Holland showed up and he said that he doesn't care if NXT dies. And then Eric Bischoff appeared on the screen.
Yeah, I was not expecting Eric Bischoff to be on NXT in the year of 2024.
And said he'll be... But wasn't he on NXT earlier this year? Maybe? I don't know.
I don't remember. I don't think so.
Part of me feels like he was. I'm not 100% sure, though.
I mean, because there's a lot with the MLW stuff with him.
Oh, it was one show, wasn't it?
I think so.
But he announced he's coming to NXT next week to find out what makes them tick leading into Deadline. It was also announced that X-Pac is going to be there. But I don't know.
X-Pac!
No, it's Make Some Noise.
Yeah, I know. I was about to say, did you know that they actually don't say X-Pac? I still can't hear Make Some Noise.
After that, they say X-Pac.
Oh, gotcha.
So we'll see what happens with Eric Bischoff. We'll see what happens with X-Pac next week.
I'm curious to see what he's going to do, because he was just like, we're going to find out what makes you tick. But I don't know what that really means, especially with Bischoff and him and them.
Perhaps it'll be, I don't know, probably just a talking segment.
Yeah, I don't know. True, it could be.
It'll be like he'll host a debate sort of segment.
It's possible. But next up, you had Ethan Page pick up the victory over Axiom to qualify for the Iron Survivor Challenge. Nathan Frazier was at ringside as well. I like the end of the match. I like the reversal of the Razor's Edge into the Hurricanrana.
He calls it the Ego's Edge, so there you go.
The Ego's Edge?
Did you say Eagle?
Ego's Edge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought this match was good, but like I said last week, there's just no way Ethan Page was going to be losing this.
Yeah.
I liked both backbreakers that he did in this match. There was one draped across the rope, and then he did one onto the top turnbuckle. I thought that was pretty cool. But I thought we were going to see Nathan Frazer kind of be the reason why Axiom lost this, like by a mistake, but that didn't happen. And Ethan Page was interviewed afterwards. Nathan Frazer interrupted, and Ethan was just like, I just pinned Axiom. The driving force of Fraxium. What makes you think you're going to beat me?
Mm-hmm.
And then he went to disagree and then stopped and apologized to Axiom because he realized he caught himself, like, I guess saying, like, no, Axiom isn't. I actually am, almost. And then Wesley came out. Brand new haircut. Javon Evans showed up. And then, very confusing to me at first, OTM showed up. But then they spoke to Fraxium, so it made sense about being tag team champions and how they're going for single stuff rather than defending the titles. And then all the other tag teams came out. They all brawled. This literally went throughout the whole night, and I'll put a pin into that for now.
Yeah.
After that, we saw Lola Vice pick up the victory over Ren Sinclair. I think every single time we see Ren Sinclair, we see more and more of like the no quarter catch crew version of Ren Sinclair. Like she was doing what I would say, what was the gimmick you did in high school and college?
Me?
Would you just call it Greco-Roman?
Oh, Greco-Roman or folk style.
Like it just looked like that at first. Like they were both shooting perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
But every single time we see Ren Sinclair, there's like a new submission that she's using. So I enjoy seeing that. But Lola Vice ended up hitting that back fist to pick up the victory. And also called out Jada Parker for NXT Underground. So when that happens, we don't know.
But I think it's going to be really good. I think Lola Vice has really been awesome. I think she's going to really make a great name on the main roster too once she's called up.
I feel like that's probably should be taking place at Deadline.
When's Deadline?
The 7th? Yeah, the 7th.
All right. Next up, you had Tony D'Angelo pick up the victory over Shawn Spears to retain the championship. Yeah. I don't know. I can't get too entertained by Tony D'Angelo at times. I go in and out.
Well, Tony started the match right away before the bell. And early on, his knee started to act up, which Shawn Spears worked on through the whole match. And Tony D'Angelo was able to come back and hit that spinebuster to pick up the victory. But as soon as the bell rang, Brooks Jensen was in there attacking Tony. And then we saw Tony come back from that, but Nico Vance, who we saw a few weeks ago, showed up and took out Tony D'Angelo. We don't really know much about Nico at all. So we'll see. I can't see him like taking the title from Tony, but crazier things have happened.
Yeah, I don't know if I could see that either. But next up, you had Julia pick up the victory over Kalani Jordan to qualify for the Iron Survivor Challenge. I really like Julia's mask that she was wearing to the ring.
I don't remember a mask on Julia.
Yeah, she had a really cool mask that she was walking out with.
I don't know why I'm not remembering a mask.
Yeah, but it was a solid match.
Yeah, I thought this was a great match. I thought it was pretty even, but Kalani Jordan went for that split-legged moonsault. Julia reversed it into that submission, and Kalani Jordan held on with all her might. I thought that was going to be it for her. She hits a huge power bomb to get out of that. And the match continued, but in the end, obviously, Julia's able to get that victory. But that was just... People can say so many things like, oh, this division's better, this division's better. There's like, you can't tell me that WWE doesn't have a better division than of women.
Oh, 100% they
Like,
do.
I'm not ever going to think other than WWE is peak division.
Yeah.
Outside, obviously, I don't watch Stardom outside of clips on Twitter and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the United States goes, you can't even, there's no comparison.
I agree. I think if you try to dispute this, it's a bit delusional.
But
I will say that Impact Wrestling does have a fantastic women's roster, though.
I'm not knocking AEW's either. AEW's fantastic also. They just don't utilize it properly.
True.
There's no reason why AEW shouldn't be having at least 2 matches a week with women on one episode of Dynamite.
That's very, very true. Very true.
So, but later on, we saw Ava announce that the final spots will go to, of the Iron Survivor Challenge, will go to whoever wins Fatal 4-Way matches. Which people think Cora Jade is going to win that one. I feel like I can't see that happening.
Mm-hmm.
I also don't know if Kalani Jordan gets that win.
Huh.
But she also, in that same segment, announced a battle royal next week to determine who faces Fraxium at Deadline. All the teams showed up and started arguing with each other. Eddie Thorpe tried to talk to Ava, and Ava wasn't hearing any of it. And he grabs her, and she's like, "Don't put your hands on me." And just then, I think it was Mark Coffey, got pushed into Ava's door, which sends her flying down to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on,
Great sell.
HBK,
Great sell, by the way.
First of all, I don't know how, I wasn't expecting a bump like that.
Yeah, she took one heck of a, really good bump.
I watched that over and over again. I was like, that's a crazy spot over there.
Yeah,
But-
kudos.
But Shawn Michaels got
Kudos.
beyond furious at Eddie Thorpe.
Yeah.
And he yelled at him and he pushed him up against the garage door. Are we going to see Bloodline members show up next week or something? Will Eddie Thorpe still have a shot at the Iron Survivor Challenge?
I don't think so.
You don't think so to the Bloodline?
I don't think we're going to see the what is it? I don't think we're going to see Bloodline.
Maybe Lance shows up and takes
I
out Eddie
Don't
Thorpe.
think so. No.
Well, the main event of NXT saw Fallon Henley pick up the victory over Tatum Paxley to retain the North American Championship. Earlier in the night, we saw Tatum Paxley playing with her dolls, and Fatal Influence pulled up on her and made fun of her. And when they walked off, Tatum Paxley said, "Your past will haunt you." You see a hand pick up a doll. Obviously, I mean, if you're paying attention, she's playing with a redheaded doll or an orange-haired doll. I hate when people say I'm a redhead. Which leads me to believe that it was going to be Gigi Dolan returning. And we saw, as far as this match goes, Jacy Jane and Jasmine Nix got involved a few times. Tatum Paxley had a fantastic showing in this. I think even with that loss, same thing with Kalani Jordan. Even losing, they looked great. And Fatal Influence ends up beating down Tatum Paxley after the match. Gigi Dolan does make her return and attack them from behind.
Crowd totally popped, and it was really good to see her back. And when she hit that ring right behind them, I think that everything that she hit was spot on.
I would love to know if she was purposely dressed like a 2003 Titantron Live Lita figure.
Huh.
But I don't know.
Interesting. I didn't think about that.
But that's NXT. Moving over to SmackDown. It kicked off with Bianca Belair, Naomi, Io Sky, Bayley, and Rhea Ripley. And Rhea Ripley said that they're not all friends in this match, but it doesn't matter because when they step into War Games, they all have someone in there that they hate. I wish in that opening segment that they said something with Bayley and Io, but the heels came out. Nia Jax addressed all of that to help plant seeds of doubt, perhaps, in the faces' heads. That's a stupid sentence. But Bayley tried to do the same thing. It wasn't effective, I guess. And the heels teased getting into the ring. Liv Morgan stopped them. They left, and Rhea Ripley was like, we're not waiting for War Games. They went after them, and they all brawled. I thought that was a good way to open SmackDown. You had Nakamura pick up the victory over Andrade. Nakamura has a brand new theme song, which it's not really brand new. It's his old theme song, but it has random beats in it now. Almost reminds me of the drums from the Nation of Domination theme song. This match, during the match, the fans were cheering for Nakamura, which I thought was weird, given his heel turn. But I thought it was a good match, and it was pretty even. Part of me expected Nakamura to get a win quicker, but at the same time, I'm very happy that Andrade, it wasn't one-sided. And it, like I said, was even. Andrade comes out looking still strong. Afterwards, LA Knight went to attack Nakamura. One of the quickest poison mists I think we've ever seen. I thought that was awesome. Backstage, you had Tommaso Ciampa yelling at Johnny Gargano about not getting his another title shot. And he brought up the whole Alex Shelley mentor thing. And he said that he's sick of talking unless Johnny Gargano has another plan. They're going to do stuff his way. And if he doesn't figure it out by next week, it's going to be Ciampa's way. So I still think we'll see Johnny Gargano end up perhaps turning heel. A heel turn, though, for DIY and New Day in the same week? I don't know about that. So we'll see. After that, Cody Rhodes picked up the victory over Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo, before the match, told Cody that Kevin Owens has been right and said that he did turn his back on Kevin Owens. And Cody isn't the person that would stab someone in the back because he does it in their heart. As far as the match goes, I enjoyed Carmelo Hayes outsmarting Cody Rhodes. That didn't really last too long in the match, but this was a good match for Carmelo Hayes. And I thought this was an even better follow-up to their match that they had at the draft in April. Because it really does show how much, as an in-ring worker, that Carmelo Hayes has grown. So I thought that was a good match. You had Roman Reigns and CM Punk have a sit-down with Paul Heyman. Punk showed up late, and he said that he showed up for Paul Heyman. And Roman Reigns, again, kind of stubborn, said that he doesn't need CM Punk's help. And CM Punk was like, well, I don't want to help you, but I'm here for Paul Heyman. And Paul Heyman said that if they don't accept CM Punk's help, it's over for them. It's over for the OG bloodline. And if Punk doesn't help Roman, then Solo and the bloodline will be coming after CM Punk because he's the top dog. Or the next top dog or whatever. And CM Punk said that he wants revenge for what they did to his friend. But his friend will owe him a favor. That being Paul Heyman. What the favor is, we don't know. It could definitely lead to somewhere down the line CM Punk and Roman Reigns in a match. It certainly, I feel like it planted seeds for that. So we'll see where that leads to. You had Mia Yim pick up the victory over Piper Niven and Lash Legend to advance in that United States Championship tournament. I was very happy to see Mia Yim advance in it. I thought the three of them worked very well in this match together. They had a lot of breakup pin spots, but Chelsea Green got involved, which drew out B-Fab, who then brawled with Chelsea to the back. I guess momentarily distracting Piper because Chelsea was supposed to be there to help Piper get that win. It also perhaps allowed for Lash Legend to hit a choke slam on Piper Niven, and then she hit the Lash extension on Piper. Very cool to see her do both those moves to Piper. And then Mia Yim basically stole that victory from Lash Legend. Either way, though, I'm very happy that Mia Yim is going to be in that match for Saturday night's main event for the first ever United States Championship for the women. In the main event, we saw Jacob Fatu pick up the victory over Jey Uso to gain the advantage for WarGames. I think this match went exactly how you'd expect it to, with Jacob Fatu as far as power and dominance goes. He hit a Shining Star press at one point, and Michael Cole had like no clue what it was, which I find to be weird because Bianca Belair uses that from time to time. But towards the end of the match, Jey Uso hit a spear. He went up top. He actually connected with the Uso splash. I did not expect him to actually connect with it. But Jacob Fatu kicked out of that, and I feel like that's a very big thing to have kicked out of a spear and an Uso splash for that. Jey Uso went and cleared off the commentary table. Jacob Fatu was the one that actually used it, though. He hit a Samoan drop to Jey on top of it. And then he got him back into the ring. He hit that implant DDT, and then he hit that moonsault to pick up the victory. And like I said, gained the advantage. And then the team celebrated up by the ramp. Very much so looking forward to WarGames. So that's SmackDown. Gonna do some predictions for WWE Survivor Series WarGames taking place in Vancouver at the Rogers Arena. We got Shinsuke Nakamura versus LA Knight for the United States Championship. This one's hard to call, kind of.
I'm going to go with Shinsuke Nakamura.
I feel like he has to.
It's difficult because he only just returned 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm going to say Nakamura as well, though.
Interesting.
For
Next
the
up.
Intercontinental Championship, you have Braun Breaker defending the title against Sheamus and Ludwig Kaiser. I'm going to say Braun Breaker.
I'm going to agree. I think Braun Breaker. I think Braun Breaker is going to win it again. Let's head over to the World Heavyweight Championship match. Gunther taking on Damian Priest. I'm going to go with Gunther.
Yeah, I'm going to say Gunther retains that championship as well. Everything just unraveled on SmackDown for the women's WarGames match. You got Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Naomi, Io Sky, and Bayley, like I had wanted from the get-go. Versus the Judgment Day, you have Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. You have Nia Jax. You have Tiffany Stratton. You have Candice LeRae. I feel like the Judgment Day kind of has to win this, but I don't know.
I think that this is going to be the team of the faces. I think Ripley, Belair, Nao, with everything taking place, though.
It's this match, out of the WarGames matches, this is the most difficult match, I think, to pick.
Yeah, with everything taking place with Jade and stuff like that, you have to expect will play factor at some point. But it could lead to a spot where Rhea Ripley kind of clears out the entire opposing team on her own.
I just feel like, because, I don't think we can have two face teams winning at the same time.
I mean, you can.
I would prefer not to see that.
I mean, we have 3 heels already winning on the card. Nakamura, Breaker, Gunther.
Yeah, but Breaker is like...
Yeah, he's like tweener. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna stick with Ripley's team.
I'm going Judgment Day.
Okay.
Men's War Games match. You have the OG Bloodline, Roman Reigns, the Usos, and Sami Zayn teaming up with CM Punk to take on the Bloodline. Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, and Tonga Loa, as well as Bronson Reed. I'm going to say the OG Bloodline.
I'm gonna.
Unless the Bloodline wins and it stems off into CM Punk versus Roman Reigns somehow.
I'm gonna go with the Bloodline. The new Bloodline. I'm gonna go with. I think that something's gonna happen with Seth Rollins.
Keep in mind, the Bloodline just beat the OG Bloodline at Crown Jewel.
True. Very true. But I mean, we were talking the other week about Paul Heyman potentially being with Solo. Wouldn't
People posted video of him winking at, I think, Jimmy. There's a video of Sami Zayn throwing a cell phone. I don't know.
That's the thing. There's so much, just like the other match, right? With the women's match, there's so much taking place in this match where, I mean,
I'm sticking with the OG Bloodline, though.
I don't know, because I feel like everything with Seth Rollins, I feel like Seth Rollins could easily be a distraction to Roman Reigns when he attacks Bronson Reed.
I don't know. I don't see that happening, though.
I'm going with the new Bloodline. I think we're going to have a lot of heels win this Survivor Series. I'm going new Bloodline.
Those are our predictions for Survivor Series. Going to take a quick little break right now, and we'll be right back here on Markin Out.
Hi, this is Dennis Haskins, Mr. Belding from Saved by the Bell, and you're listening to Markin Out.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Markin Out episode 721. Last week on AEW Rampage, it kicked off with Mariah May and Mina Shirakawa picking up the victory over Harley Cameron and Nyla Rose. I thought this match, for the most part, was fine. I 100% I understand why it happened, but I wish we got a few more matches with Mina and Mariah before what actually happened at Full Gear. The Doomsday Bulldog that ended the match, it could have been much better. I like the idea of it, though. Later on, you had Thunder Rosa interviewed about an all-lucha episode of Rampage, and Harley Cameron interrupted wearing a hologram mask after Thunder Rosa issued an open challenge. I believe her name was Harley Graham. We saw QT Marshall and AJ weigh in, and I truly hate segments like this, but they were so incredibly over, and they made this segment completely work. They sold you onto why you should tune into the pre-show for AEW Full Gear. You had QT Marshall rig the scale, where it had AJ at like 550 pounds. You had Big Justice cut a promo on QT. QT tried to take a cheap shot at AJ, which he reversed. One hell of a worker punch. And then he turned to check on Big Justice and then ate a diamond cutter. Literally picture perfect, 100%. That's why you should be tuning into a pre-show. Sold it perfectly. You had Juice Robinson pick up the victory over the Butcher. This did absolutely nothing to sell the pay-per-view. The match was okay, but why did this take place? It's like Jay White wasn't involved. Hangman wasn't involved. It didn't make sense to me. Main event saw the conglomeration pick up the victory of the Dark Order. Much like when the Dark Order faced Top Flight, this really doesn't make sense. All these teams have been fighting the Death Riders and then randomly stopped fighting the Death Riders so they could fight each other. There's strength in numbers, and most of them just forgot about the Death Riders. Stuff like that, to me, is very annoying. especially with how long this match went. Especially since Jon Moxley and the rest of the crew are doing whatever they want. I just don't understand that. But that's Rampage. Moving over to AEW Full Gear, taking place at The Rock Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. The kickoff show kicked off with Anna Jay picking up the victory over Deonna Purrazzo. Taya Valkyrie got involved multiple times, including one time in front of the referee. And instead of a DQ, he just kicked her from ringside. I liked that Anna Jay and Deonna Purrazzo both got out of one another's submission holds. I thought that was a very good thing to have part of the match. Anna Jay got a quick win after reversing the armbar. And I feel like they could have done so much more with this match, especially since it was on the kickoff show. There's like unlimited time. I thought Deonna Purrazzo was going to win this. And when Taya Valkyrie got kicked from ringside, I thought we'd maybe see a new member of their group. But that didn't happen. We saw Buddy Matthews pick up the victory over Dante Martin, Commander, and Black Taurus. This is exactly what you would have expected this match to be. It was a lot of high-flying action, very fast-paced. I like that stomp that Buddy Matthews hit on Dante Martin to break up the pin, and then also get the victory. I feel like he was the only person who should have won. And he was super over, too, in New Jersey. I thought that was really cool to hear. After that, the main event of Full Gear, Big Boom AJ picked up the victory over QT Marshall. Earlier, QT trashed New Jersey and Bruce Springsteen, despite being from New Jersey. Big Show was on commentary for this. The Rizzler was the timekeeper. The pops that the Rizzler got, the pops that the Costco guys got, were absolutely insane. I thought it was a brilliant theme and graphics for QT Marshall with the Doom. This is really, truly, I believe it when I say it, probably one of the greatest matches in AEW history. And I'm literally not even joking. The fans were beyond into this. Aaron Solo got involved, which distracted AJ at one point. And behind the referee's back, you had Big Justice get in the ring, spear QT Marshall. AJ hit the power boom to pick up that victory. And they all celebrated. I thought this was fantastic. This is what wrestling is. He was the perfect celebrity, pseudo-celebrity, whatever you want to refer to him as, to bring in. He's a trained worker. I thought this was great. As far as the actual Full Gear pay-per-view goes, I did not see it. I just saw bits and pieces of it. You had Private Party pick up the victory over the Acclaimed, House of Black, and the Outrunners to retain the tag team championships. MJF beat Roderick Strong. The Kingdom checked on Roddy afterwards when MJF beat him down. Kyle O'Reilly ended up pushing Adam Cole. I'll put a pin in that. You had Mercedes Moné pick up the victory over Chris Statlander to retain the TBS championship. I saw that Hurricane Rana spot off the apron from Mercedes, which I thought was really cool. This match got a lot of praise, so I wish I could have seen it. You had Jay White pick up the victory, and I also think it's now the longest women's match in AEW history. You had Jay White pick up the victory over Adam Page. Hangman attacked Christopher Daniels afterwards. Kyle Fletcher beat Will Ospreay. Mariah May had her championship celebration, and she went to hit Mina Shirakawa. Mina ducked it and speared Mariah May off the stage through a table. And then on Dynamite, Mina Shirakawa was interviewed, and she said that she knew if Mariah could do what she did to Toni Storm, she could do it to her as well. And she was ready for that. Mariah May showed up from behind, smashed a bottle over her head. I assumed that this would take place at World's End. But instead of Mariah May being like, you want a match? Or I want a match with you in 2 weeks at Winter is Coming, they just aired a graphic. Why does a graphic do the work that Mariah May should be doing? Folks, we just heard Tony Khan confirm it. Why should Tony Khan confirm it? Why shouldn't it just Mariah May be like, I want a match at Winter is Coming? Doesn't make sense. You had Daniel Garcia pick up the victory over Jack Perry to become the new TNT champion. I think it's annoying that come time for the media scrum, Daniel Garcia already had a new title. Like, you couldn't just, like, have Jack Perry's title with you and then debut or have the returning TNT championship design back at a later date. Takeshita picked up the victory over Ricochet to retain. Lashley beat Swerve. I believe he made him pass out to the Hurt Lock. Main event saw Jon Moxley beat Orange Cassidy to retain the AEW Championship. That was pretty much expected. Willow got involved to take Marina Shafir out. The conglomeration got involved. Wheeler Yuta ends up helping Jon Moxley behind the referee's back to win. Then you had Hangman show up. Christian tried to cash in, but Jay White stopped it. And then the Death Riders left, only to have their car get driven into. Commentary's like, oh, who could this be? I wonder, the person with skulls all over their car, who could it be? The one person who's been fighting with Jon Moxley, who could it be? Obviously, it's Darby Allin. Darby gets out of the car wobbly. He's bleeding. This was a terrible ending based on what I saw. So that's Full Gear. Moving over to AEW Dynamite, you kicked off with Shelton Benjamin picking up the victory over Mark Briscoe to get points in the Continental Classic. They started almost instantly fighting outside of the ring. That's when I lose interest. Shelton Benjamin controlled most of this, which isn't surprising, given how Mark Briscoe's run in the tournament went last year. I was already not into this group of people that they chose for this Continental Classic. I feel like there needed to be surprises. So doing a match like this just made me wish it was January already. And make me wish I could fast forward and just be all done with this tournament. You had Mercedes Moné speak about her match. And she, I guess, went to go fire Camille. Camille took the mic from her. Asked if she was stupid and then quit. After everything they did to Camille to bury her, why should anybody care about this? I have to assume that someone is going to be brought in to be a new muscle, new heavy for Mercedes Moné. I'd still really like to see the Renegade Twins be paired up with Mercedes. You had Chris Jericho pick up the victory over Ishii to retain the ROH Championship. They opened with the chop for chop stuff. They went back to the chops pretty soon after that. They did the goofy slaps. Not what I want to be watching on TV. Not at all. Backstage, Swerve was interviewed and ended up attacking Max Caster after Max Caster laughed at him. You had Hangman interviewed where Tony Schiavone asked him about what he did at Full Gear. And he said Christian didn't live up to his end of the bargain. And it's his intentions to become AEW champion. It shouldn't have been Swerve. It shouldn't have been Bryan Danielson. It shouldn't have been Jon Moxley. It won't be Christian. And then Jay White came out, pointed out that Hangman lost multiple times. So he should be really next in line to be champion. Pac showed up, took Jay White out. The Death Riders showed up. Jay White went to hit the Blade Runner on Marina Shafir. Jon Moxley showed up. She chokes him out. They all beat him down. This is your, like, basically only follow-up. This and the thing with Adam Cole in a second from the actual pay-per-view. And this wasn't even good. The end was so mishmash of that pay-per-view that this segment was mishmash. Too many things in this. And then you go into the Continental Classic. You have Claudio pick up the victory over Ricochet to gain points. This was better. Better than that opening match to me. But again, they went outside the ring for no reason. If you're going outside of the ring, I feel like there should be reason to this. Every single match had outside fighting. It's not necessary at all. I did like the twisting moonsault that Ricochet hit, but I don't care. I feel like in a Continental Classic, I said it the last year, your objective here, you're not having outside interference. Nobody can be ringside. Why should you be allowed to fight ringside then? Why should Claudio be allowed to rip up the barricade and drop Ricochet onto that barricade? I just don't get it. Afterwards, you have the Kingdom come out. Adam Cole challenged MJF to fight him. And Kyle O'Reilly came out and he said that he should be the one that fights MJF because Adam Cole already did it and failed. Adam Cole said that he can't let his friends fight his battles, like Kyle O'Reilly said the other week. And then MJF interrupted and basically said no to both of them. He has a Dynamite Diamond Dozen Battle Royal to worry about. Adam Cole entered. Kyle O'Reilly entered. You had Jamie Hayter pick up the victory over Queen Aminata in a tournament for Wrestle Dynasty. I would have preferred for Queen Aminata to win this, but with her not doing anything for the past month, I think it was very obvious that Jamie Hayter would be winning this. I also think they could have done so much more with this match. Just like Deonna Purrazzo and Anna Jay. There was so much more you could have done. Then you had the lights go out after the match. Spotlight went to the stage. Nothing happens. It's just Julia Hart playing games, I guess, with Jamie Hayter. I would love to see another women's match booked on Dynamite. Meaningful women's matches. We didn't need Jericho versus Ishii. You have Final Battle coming up. Have that match there. Main event saw Brody King pick up the victory over Darby Allin to gain points in the Continental Classic. I truly don't get why Darby Allin would care about a tournament. He's feuding with Jon Moxley. He's trying to stop Jon Moxley. Let me pause what I'm doing to go try to win a tournament. Same thing with Mark Briscoe. Mark Briscoe's on a similar battle against the Death Riders. But yeah, let's put aside everything. I crashed my car into yours. Let me pause that to just go fight Brody King and be in a tournament. It makes so much sense. So much sense. But I'm glad that Brody King won this match. I definitely expected Darby to be the one to win this because Brody King controlled most of this. I was expecting Darby to have a Darby comeback and win. Thankfully, that wasn't the case. Claudio showed up afterwards with a chair, and then Brody got back into the ring, stared him down. Claudio left. It sets up their match for the Continental Classic next week. There was almost no follow-up to that pay-per-view. Almost everything was just tossed out the window. Here's a tournament, here's a second tournament. That's lazy booking. And that's for the next month or so. Lazy booking. Don't want to watch stuff like that. So that's AEW. Hey, Brennan. Got any shout outs?
Damn it, Bobby. How many times do I have to tell you to listen to Brandon's shout outs?
The first shout out goes to Interior Chinatown, which I didn't know when I was watching the series that it's based on a novel by the same name. And I feel like the series it's kind of hard to explain, but Jimmy O Yang is a background actor who witnesses a crime and then he gets sucked into a whole investigation. We have Ronnie Chang and Chloe Bennett also in the series. They star in it as well. I don't even want to say much because there's so much that goes into the story.
I'm not familiar with them.
Chloe Bennett played Quake on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Mm-mm.
You never watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Are you kidding me?
No, I never got into it.
Oh my God. But I just thought this was a really good show. I enjoyed it. It's on Hulu. It's action. It's comedy. They set up for a second season, so I really do hope they get a second season. My next shout out goes to A Man on the Inside. It's a new show on Netflix starring Ted Danson as a retired professor who gets hired by a private investigator to go undercover inside of a retirement home.
I think I love anything that Danson's in, I feel.
Yeah, Ted Danson's fantastic. This, I also did not know when I was watching this. It's based on a documentary from 2020 titled The Mole Agent. So it's like, I guess maybe a true story that actually happened. But Mary Elizabeth Ellis plays his daughter in this. Lila Rich Creek plays the PI that hires him. Mm-hmm. Stephanie Beatriz is the manager at the retirement home. There are so many other actors in it. Eugene Cordero, Sally Struthers is in this. But Mike Schur created this. And given his history with Emmy nominations, I would be surprised if this wasn't nominated for an Emmy. And I just thought it was such a heartwarming show. It's funny. It's sad. I think it 100% delivers. It ends with a door for hopefully a season 2. So, and you see like the different Mike Schur projects. You see like the cast in this. Ted Danson was part of The Good Place. Mm-hmm. So I think this was a really good show as well.
You ever listen to his podcast with
Listen? What do you mean
Woody?
Listen? It's visual.
Oh, it's visual?
Yeah, I think so. I was always on the impression that it was a visual podcast gimmick.
I heard them come up on...
I swear to God, man, I get so annoyed when people say, I have a podcast and it's video format. That to me is not a podcast. Podcast is audio on an iPod. You're able to listen to an audio on iPods.
Yeah.
But I only see clips from time to time.
Huh.
It's one of the Conan shows, isn't it?
I don't know. I just heard a promo for it on Spotify.
I'm almost certain Conan produces it.
I have no clue. I just heard about it on Spotify.
I could be completely wrong. But my last shout out goes to the Family Guy holiday special. Much like the Halloween special, this was just an exclusive episode on Hulu. And not a movie, unfortunately. But it's still enjoyable. If you're a fan of Family Guy, it hits everything Family Guy. It's nice to see new holiday specials released. So check that out. If you have the bundle,
I haven't watched a new
Disney
Family
Plus,
Guy episode in forever.
Well, I'm still enjoying it. I know a lot of people have not enjoyed Family Guy in quite some time, but that's exactly how I feel with The Simpsons. So maybe I understand it, but...
Yeah.
But those are my shout-outs. Now it's time for... That is right, our Mark Out moment of the week. I want to say, sticking to the Seth MacFarlane playbook, if you will, Bret Hart appeared on American Dad this week and kind of saves the day. So that was pretty cool to see. It was very random to see Bret Hart, especially because they were in, I think it was in Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. Or actually, no, that wouldn't make sense. Maybe it was just their hometown or whatever.
That's pretty
I think
cool.
it was just their hometown. But yeah, that was random to see Bret Hart. And it was like all completely like WWE references and PWI references. But
Mm-hmm.
So that was cool. How many, you got any other mark out moments?
I definitely marked out for the backstage CM Punk returning at Survivor Series from last year footage that they released on YouTube.
Yeah.
That
was really cool to see.
Yeah, just seeing the entire buildup of him being backstage and like noticing things like when he's backstage for the first time and you see Stephanie McMahon looking at him from behind and you see her smiling, like everything seems so genuine at times when you're seeing this video. Like you're looking backstage and you're seeing Triple H like full blown focus on what's taking place on the monitor right now. Like, even with Punk there, he's just telling him where he has to be, what's the best position to be in. Just full focus. And then Stephanie McMahon is just full smile. And then he heads out there and stuff like that. He does his thing and he comes back. And you see him just standing in Gorilla and all these wrestlers that were involved in that matchup coming up and being surprised and stuff like that. You have like Finn Balor's reaction and Sami Zayn's reaction, and Randy Orton is hilarious.
Which I didn't
being
even know. I didn't know him and Sammy weren't on like good terms at that point.
I didn't know that either. And then Randy Orton being like, I couldn't just have 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Like Randy's reaction was great. And then you had Bayley trying to make her way over. Apparently Bayley kind of slid in a little. I almost said April. What a mark. AJ reference, being like,
what something like "get her here" or something like that.
Yeah, bring her back or get her here or something like that. And then apparently, like with Corey Graves too. His meeting of CM Punk. It seemed like just a cool thing, and then CM Punk with Cody Rhodes, of course. It was really cool to see that interaction. I'm glad that they didn't show any interaction of Seth Rollins, though.
Maybe there wasn't.
That's the thing. Maybe there wasn't, or who knows what it was. Maybe it was. Maybe they would expect them to brawl backstage if it was legit.
Right.
Who knows why they didn't show that part, but...
Did you see the WWE Vault released footage from Survivor Series history that they found?
No. What was it?
It's like a bunch of like B-roll and stuff. And
that's pretty
cool.
cool.
One of the parts you have Road Dogg practicing With My Baby Tonight.
Uh-huh.
And Paul Bearer starts stripping to it.
That's funny.
And then another part, like you have fans that are like, they're interviewing the fans and they curse and they're like, oh, well, you can't curse. Like, we can't use that. And then this little kid says something that's like so unexpected, DX related, but at the same time, like, I don't think DX was saying that word.
Uh-huh.
And the guy that the camera cuts to next was like, well, I think that's a little too harsh or whatever. And then the guy doing the interview was like, well, that's okay because we're never going to use this footage. Fast forward 27 years later.
Yeah, right?
Imagine being that 12-year-old kid and like 27 years later, that footage is unearthed. And you're like, hey, that's, I said such and such.
That is funny. I saw they released footage of Stone Cold Steve Austin cutting a promo on Bret Hart.
There was also footage of Steve Austin crushing an egg for some reason.
I didn't see that one.
I don't know why. I didn't understand why that was a thing.
Yeah.
And then I think the WWE Vault thing ends with Scott Steiner saying, like, you know who I am, I don't know who you are, to the interviewer.
Mm-hmm.
So that was cool to see. I gotta say, I know you are 100% against everything about this.
Ugh. All right. Thank you so much for listening.
Big Boom AJ versus QT Marshall. I was just in complete disbelief with how over they were with the crowd and how entertaining it was from start to finish. People can talk about their like 15 minutes of fame, but it was so well done. He wrestled with a broken foot. And I had no idea. I wouldn't have known that. If they didn't come out with that news, I would not have known that. So I thought that was very well done on their behalf. The one thing that annoyed me was backstage promos where they were not using it on TV, but they were showing the different wrestlers with him eating cookies. They were not the double chocolate chunk cookie from Costco. They were just normal cookies that were, I guess, backstage or whatever. Mm-hmm. So that was annoying to see. I went to Costco. I got a double chocolate chunk cookie this week.
Nice.
They're fantastic. They're double chocolate chunk, not double chunk chocolate cookies like he says. So, well done on that. You have any other mark out moments?
No, let's take it.
Well, that was episode 721. Thank you so much for checking out the episode. You can follow us on Twitter at Markin Out, at BTTG161, Chris Sweendog, CM Sweeney85, David PTDPT, Facebook.com/Markin Out, YouTube and Instagram, Markin Out 11, TikTok is at Markin Out, ProWrestlingTees.com/Markin Out. Listen to the show on YouTube. You can rate, review, and subscribe. Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, markinout.com, and we wish you
The
best
of luck in your future endeavors.
Have a fantastic week.